I get ideas by reading literature, talking to other researchers, especially also outside your field. Also look at the results of previous studies, because usually when you do a study, this automatically generates new ideas for future studies.
Sometimes when you're reading the literature, you say, well, it will raise questions. You will ask, how did they do that, or do they know that? Then you will have the question in your mind, did someone try this experiment or not? Did someone try to address this question or not? And you will look if they have done that, and if they don't, well, you have an angle to do your proposal.
Well, I think the best ideas are coming from the coffee breaks in between the research, because when you talk to other PhD students, they are smart, they are interested, and I think a lot of good ideas are coming from them, from the people around you.
I think reading definitely is one of the most important things, because along the way that you are learning knowledge from this field, then it's very naturally you will just get idea. If you don't understand this background, or you don't know anything from this field, then it's very difficult to put an idea out of it, or at least have a meaningful idea out of it. It's very difficult. So I think the best way to get an idea is to read what other people do, and you will always have opinion about it, I think, because there are probably some part you think you can do it different way, or like you think, okay, this make no sense, and how would you do it? And yeah, I think you just look into literature and in this specific topic and see what other people do, then the idea will just come along.
So finding ideas, usually you find in previous publications, either from the lab, from your team, or from different institutions or universities. This is usually very representative of current research, especially if you read high impact factor articles. However, bear in mind that you can choose some topics that are not at all explored by others, but you may end up going in the wall with probably nothing in the end to publish.
Yeah, this is a question that you always ask yourself when you're like entering in research, right? I think in my personal story, when I was a master's student, when I finished it, I thought I was like the kind of person that will not have any ideas ever. So I thought I was more like a technician, you know, or something like someone that do things but really don't get new ideas. But I think the more you are growing, the more you read, the more you're involved in the field, then you can start getting ideas by yourself. It just happened. Or maybe you're gifted and you're just very creative itself. You know.
I think a thorough discussion with your supervisor and your professor is just very important, because you may have all those brilliant ideas, but they will know whether it's really feasible and whether it's relevant to understand.
I'm afraid I need to give the same answer as I did with how do you read a study. Yeah, go to discussions of big random controlled trials or big reviews within the subject you're interested in. Read their discussions in and out, and put that on paper. I see you do mind map stuff kind of things. Well, that's perfect for that. And that's fine as well, but if you do it just in your mind, you read it and you just be a creative process in your mind, just gathering information until something comes out, that's fine as well. But yeah, I would look at the discussions of these big reviews and random controlled trials of the last year, maybe 2 years, depending on how active your subject group is. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of reading and literature search in the beginning. So I think most people are immersed in a lot of papers, but then you just have to find a niche of topic that's not been focused on, and discuss a lot back and forth with your supervisors. Communication is extremely important, back and forth with your supervisors, because you may have an extremely elaborate idea, but that should be plausible to reach. So reading a lot, finding this niche of knowledge gap, and then communicating back and forth with the supervisors.
For instance, in my case, what I would do as well is, if I have a question which applies to patients and may be clinically relevant, I might go up to a psychiatrist and ask them, like, okay, I have this question, I think it's clinically relevant, but I'm not a clinician, so what do you think? And if they tell me, okay, no, this is indeed something we would like to know and I would really use as a treating clinician, yeah, no, I'm on the right track.
Reading, it's a very powerful tool to get ideas, because then you know what is known and what is still not known and what should be interesting to do. And well, because interesting actually means that it has to be something that people will read. You know, it's not like I'm just going to investigate why the apples are red, because that's already known, you know. Like
I think that in my case it is pretty much related to my personal interests, and so then I have this idea, or I see something that happened with patients frequently, and I want to understand why, the underlying mechanisms of why that happens. So then I go normally then to PubMed, and I do a lot of research, and I see if this topic has been covered or not, if it is feasible in terms of finding a population or the correct animal model, and then I start just brainstorming with my supervisors until we can come up with a nice research project. So that's more or less how it goes.
Read literature, but also outside the topic you're really studying. For instance, I'm studying the effects of antipsychotics. If I'm lost in the field of antipsychotics, I may go to the field of antidepressants, where we sometimes know a lot more about. So it helps you to just go to a specific, different kind of topic or different kind of disorder. For instance, many symptoms that are occurring in schizophrenia, or for instance side effects due to antipsychotics, they occur in other disorders as well, the bipolar disorder or depression. So I would suggest read outside your own bubble, and have a glass of wine with your colleagues definitely will help to get new ideas.
And talk with people. Yeah, because like one of the mistakes that I made is like, oh, I have all these ideas, and okay, I talk with the supervisor, we have certain, like, this is what we want to do. You know, in the beginning, you talk with your supervisor, oh, chapter 1 is about this, and then chapter blah, 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 and chapter 9 is about this, right? That's how you do it, right? Generally. And then, yeah, then you're sitting in your office, you're like, okay, I need to start with chapter 6. All right, it's about this. And then you think of all kinds of things, and that's fine. And then you put something on paper, and then you talk with your supervisor. I would say, call your supervisor, and I don't do this, but I wish I would do that. Call your supervisor, say, hey, can I have half an hour with you next Monday? And then what you do is you tell them, okay, I found some studies that is about the subject we want to talk about. Can you read them as well? Mm-hmm. So he reads the discussion of 2 random controlled trials and 1 review. You read the same, and then you say, but read that and think about what we can do. You know, and mostly the supervisors, they have an idea already what they want to do. But you need to be on their same level. You don't have the clinical experience. Because the people that I work with, they've been working in the hospital already for 20, 30 years. This is their life. Their whole mind is built up by patients and ideas and CT scans, all coming together to form an idea that they want to get studied. But I don't have that. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have that either. So your challenge is to get on their level, and their challenge is to make sure that whatever they want to do is in line with the literature. And you both need to be on the same page. And if that doesn't happen, then weird things can happen. And that happens with me and my supervisor as well, in a way that I feel I'm trying to get on your level of my supervisor. But to really do that, yeah, we're already too deep into a study. We can't sync anymore. And that is my mistake, but I think you can solve that by making the process of selecting a subject and how you do it, making it a collective thing straight away. Don't go into your own little bunker here in the office and just think and think and think and think that you carry the responsibility of having some great idea. No, do it together.
Okay.
Just take that half an hour to look at those references.
So I can tell you in detail how it was when we were writing those grants which I got. So I was here on second year of my studies, and then okay, but also my supervisors are very cooperating and supportive. So when I said that I would like to come back and that I'm really interested in myocardial perfusion, then I had a chance to really visit radiology, to get into that, what is really interesting for me. And they showed me the gap in evidence, so what would be interesting to do, and this is how we started. So the first, I mentioned what is of my interest, and then they helped me a lot to come up with the ideas, to realize what is feasible and what is not feasible, what we can do here, what will be completely too much for the center.